Okay, anyways, so a lot of things have happened, obviously, right? Many things have happened. Crazy things, right? A lot of things. We're gonna go over some of the stuff. Also, let me get right into it. See what's going on, and this is the part where I tell you about my life and want to show you some of the things. I'm kind of eating. I'm in the middle of eating right now. I kind of came from work, not too long ago. Oh, weird. Hmm. So you're gonna see me eat, obviously. I'm almost done though. I'm like halfway, a little more than halfway done. But yeah, so what's going on in my personal life so far? Let's see. Well, it was Adrian's birthday yesterday. I didn't get to say happy birthday to him. I kind of feel shitty. But you know, it was Adrian's birthday yesterday. Yappy Cappy 98, and we're gonna go do something later. Me and a couple other friends. We're gonna do something for him later in the day. So we're gonna do a kind of somewhat short stream. I am gonna be gone for a little bit. I'm gonna be I gotta go pick up my nieces, so I might be gone for like an hour or so during the stream. I might keep the stream live. I'm not sure yet. I might turn off the stream and then maybe restream again later. But yeah, anyways, I'm back at school. My semester just started yesterday. Um, Yesterday I also sort of took part of the protests for Latinos and immigrants to show solidarity with the migrants who are being deported. I did not buy anything. I did go to work, but that's because I kind of have to. But I didn't go to class yesterday, and I didn't buy anything. Like absolutely nothing. I did not spend a single dime yesterday. But yeah, doing good. Um, Yeah, class just started. I'm taking two classes this semester, Spanish 204 and another class, a computer class. Um, okay, Yappy Cappy's gonna be on around 4 or 5, so that's good. We're gonna have him later. So when I come back and stream later, we're gonna have Yappy Cappy on. But yeah, we're gonna look over some of the news. We're gonna react to some of it. I'm gonna give my thoughts and stuff on it, whatnot. We're also gonna do some other fun stuff here. I might just stream for an hour because I do have to do homework. But yeah. I bought some cool stuff. I got some new pins. I got this nice cool pocket watch. I think I might give to Adrian. It's got the International Soviet symbol on it. Pretty sick, TBH. It's pretty sick. I already put it. It should be showing the right time. Well, at least where I live, Pacific Standard Time. It's 12:44. I think that's what it's showing on the clock here. 12:44. Yeah, it's a really cool pocket watch. I think I might give it to Adrian. I'm not sure. I'm gonna ask him if he wants it. If he doesn't want it, then I'll keep it. But yeah, I also got this really cool pin here. Cool pin, very cool. And let me show you some other pins I have. These are some of the other pins I have. I'm wearing two of them right now, so you're not gonna see all of them. I have two of them on me. One, hammer and sickle, red pin, and then a Lenin pin right here. Also, it's pretty sick. But yeah, those are some of the cool stuff I've bought. Um, like a week ago. Yeah, let's get right into it. This is Swedish police say around 10 people killed in school campus shooting. Wow, that sucks. In Sweden too. This was 3 hours ago, uploaded 3 hours ago. And this is from the BBC News. So let's see what's going on here.
Straight to breaking news. It is coming from Sweden, and really distressing details just in the last few minutes with police there. They're having a news conference, but confirming that 10 people have died in that school shooting. We've been reporting, a lot of the local media had been reporting several fatalities, but at the earlier press briefing, the police couldn't confirm that. But now in this briefing, they have confirmed that 10 people have been killed in that school shooting. The police have also said, we believe we have the primary perpetrator, and they've also said that the suspect in Sweden has been killed as well and was not known to police. I want to speak to Nina Hjalmegren, who's a journalist who actually used to teach in that town. And thank you for joining us here. And really disturbing, distressing details just coming from police in the last few moments.
Matthew, it's horrible. I mean, this will be one of those days that really changed the soul of Sweden. We're captured in violence, and it's horrible. And the news that 10 people have been victimized in this kind of violence is horrific. And everybody is on their toes now. Everybody, I mean, citizens, police, hospitals, politicians, everybody. There's nothing else in the news in Sweden right now but about this.
No, I'm absolutely sure of that. Just tell me some of the basic
Yeah, it's really sad, especially in Sweden. I mean, they have like pretty strict gun laws there, so I wonder even how they even got a weapon. I mean, or do they have hold on, let me check on my phone. Sweden's gun law. Yeah, it says Sweden has strict gun laws that limit the right to possess weapons. You need a weapon license to import or possess any type of weapon, including firearms. You gotta at least be 18. You must be a law-abiding and well-behaved citizen. You must be able to certify the purpose of the purpose of your need of a weapon. You need to complete a gun safety course. You need to show provisions for a secure location to store weapons. Wow. Honestly, they have. Yeah, it seems like they have pretty strict gun laws. At least more strict compared to us. I mean, our gun laws are pathetic compared to Sweden. But yeah, I mean, wow. How did this person even get the gun? You know? I wonder. Let's keep watching.
Details that have been reported where you are.
Well, it happened right after lunch at about 12:30 that they started to hear sounds that turned out to be the man shooting, what is believed to be this 35-year-old man shooting. And
A 35-year-old man? Bro, what kind of school is this?
I understand that the police was rather fast at the scene. Remember, this area where this school is a really peaceful, beautiful area of Örebro. I used to live there. I lived there for 10 years. And something like this is just unimaginable. And then all through the afternoon, we've been following the news where they haven't really confirmed anything but that there had been the shooting. And there were rumors that one person was killed and that the shooter had committed suicide and so forth. We heard that 6 people had been taken to the hospital. And that was it until this press conference now when they confirmed that 10 people have died today, this afternoon.
More of the details coming in as we're speaking now, with police also saying they had no warning signs. What is being said about the perpetrator? What is known about him?
Not much. What I understand is that they have raided his apartment in Örebro to find clues and motives. Okay. And so far we haven't heard much at all.
You used to live in the town, as you told us. You still have friends who are there. In terms of the conversations you've had, give me a sense of how people are taking in, absorbing news like this, because this is Sweden we're talking about. You know, I can't remember off the top of my head anything remotely like this happening in recent years.
No, Matthew, this is unheard of in Sweden. And yes, of course, I've talked to multiple friends this afternoon in Örebro and had contact with them.
Journalism professor.
I know traumatized might be a strong.
So it's a university. Still, very sad loss of life. Yeah. Well, my condolences to the families affected over there. Well, it's a tragedy.
Wrong word, but we are in a sense, because this is so scary that this is happening. So I think we're traumatized, and now they have a lot of conflict centers in Örebro where people who need to talk about it, relatives, neighbors, just anyone, we need to take care of a lot of people who have been affected in one way or the other by this. And they have a lot of centers in Sweden doing that, not just the church, but also at the hospital.
A brief final thought then. The Prime Minister has already put out a statement, but I'm sure there'll be updated statements given the developments of the last 5 or 10 minutes. What do people want to hear from the Prime Minister?
I think they want to hear that the different political parties in Sweden are coming together to fight something like this. Not making politics of it, but making it on a national agenda to come together and discuss what needs to be done.
Nina, we have to leave it there. Nina Jelmegren, a journalist who lived in that town until recently. Thank you for joining us here. And just to confirm what police have been saying in that news conference is still going on, so we'll bring you more detail if it comes in that is significant, but confirming that 10 people have died in this school shooting. They believe that the man acted alone. They say that he is one of the fatalities. And of course, a number of other people have been taken to hospital, and we knew that operations were going on earlier in the day. So those some of the latest painful details that have been emerging from that news conference.
Meanwhile, President Trump's tariffs on Mexico, Canada, and China go into effect tonight.
All right, that was very sad. We didn't get to see a statement, but I'll probably look it up later. Maybe when we stream with Yappy Cabby, Adrian later. This is Fox News. Elon Musk reveals shocking Doge discoveries, which, if you don't know what Doge is or what it stands for, is the Department of Government Efficiency, which is the new department that
at midnight.
Elon Musk wanted.
Says it's ready to respond. Canadian native and O'Leary Ventures chairman Kevin O'Leary joins us right now from Tokyo. Kevin, good evening to you there.
That's right.
All right, so you have talked to Donald Trump about tariffs on Canada and
Kevin
Mexico
O'Leary,
and China. What'd you tell him?
Bastard, look at that.
I was speaking specifically to him the last time I was at Mar-a-Lago about delaying the decision on Canada until they had finished their election. As you know, the Canadian government has fallen. There is no love lost between Trudeau and Freeland and Donald Trump. They had a bad relationship in his first mandate. It's obviously gotten worse. Trudeau's been calling him all weekend, calls not returned. This is not good. They're supposed to speak today. I would prefer, and many Canadians.
I don't know if Trump is legit gonna speak with Trudeau, honestly. I think he straight up hates him. George Elisa, hey, I do custom. Thanks, but I think I'm okay. Thank you though. Thank you for the offer. Appreciate it. But yeah, like I was saying, I don't think Trump's gonna call him. I mean, he stopped the tariffs. He put them on pause for Canada and Mexico, but I don't know. I don't know how to make of it. It's kind of weird. This whole thing is weird.
The same way, and many investors. I mean, really, I'm an investor. Would rather have the new government in place to negotiate the new deal, but that's not what happened.
Yeah, Kevin, Donald Trump ran on lowering costs for food and energy and stuff like that. Right now, the conventional wisdom is if they go into effect 25%, Canada and Mexico, Americans are going to get hurt a little bit.
Heck yeah, we are. We get gas, we get lumber, we get not just gasoline, we get crude oil and natural gas from Canada. We get their lumber that we use to make houses and buildings, maple syrup. We also get some foodstuffs, groceries, stuff, and whatnot. There's like a bunch of other stuff that I'm forgetting, but yeah, we get like a lot of stuff from Canada. So, I mean, that's just gonna make shit worse for us already. I mean, a couple of things have already gone up in price with just the threat of the tariffs. And when the tariffs went through, some stuff did go up in price, like avocados went up in price at Costco, and I'm pretty sure at other stores. I know Costco for sure because me and my family went the other day to Costco, and the avocados were slightly more expensive. Surprisingly, and I'm like, man, they're quick with the prices, with the price change. Honestly, but yeah, I mean, not only is it gonna hurt us with our groceries and cost of living, but gas, shipping, and it's just. I mean, good thing he put them on pause, but I mean, it still affected us in the short amount of time that it did, and also not that I care. I don't really care about the stock market, but it did affect the stock market. Stocks went down across the board on a lot of things, which was crazy. Not like super crazy. I think it went down like the maximum 3-4%, but still, I mean, that just shows you the power of the tariffs and how destructive they can be on our economy and how inflationary they can be.
I look at this as the beginning of a negotiation, and I've always said to everybody on both sides, because I'm kind of in a unique situation. I'm a Canadian, but my entire family's American, so and I invest on both sides of the border. In chaos, there's opportunity. The biggest thing going on here is a negotiation. We know it's about fentanyl right now. You had Doug Burgum on just moments ago saying exactly that. But the real opportunity comes out of the chaos and economic union. And I think this is the beginning of that narrative. I will note that energy is only at 10%. And I think the reason that's the case, or at least part of it, is that Danielle Smith, the premier of Alberta, took the time to go meet Trump in Mar-a-Lago a few weeks ago and
Kiss
plead
the
her
ring.
case about the importance of the relationship on energy of the U.S.
Look at that.
And here she is getting a benefit from it at 10% opposed to 25. And, that's good.
Right.
Burgum's now the energy czar. He understands the importance of Canada. You got to remember, Alberta has more energy than the entire United States.
Right.
That's where there's opportunity. That's where the economic union makes sense to investors.
Speaking of opportunity, Elon Musk and the Doge team are looking at how much money the federal government
The Goon
spends.
Squad?
And he posted this on X. The Doge team discovered, among other things, that the payment approval officers at Treasury were instructed always to approve payments, even to known fraudulent or terrorist groups. They literally never denied a payment in their entire careers, not even once. What do you make of Elon Musk going through Washington right now with a Hoover?
I'm okay with it. And I think the American people are okay with it.
That's
Everybody
crazy.
knows.
I don't know how he's okay with it, motherfucker. Trump gave an unelected official, Musk, who was not elected, power over a lot of stuff with the Doge, and now Musk is getting his grubby little, greasy little capitalist pig fingers all over the fucking Department of Treasury, and I think also, God damn, what was the other one? The FAA. He also got his grubby little hands on fucking the department that's in charge of like Social Security, USAID, and all this other stuff. Like, it's kind of crazy because now Musk has access to federal, federal funds through the Department of Treasury. He can access our data, federal and public data. Because now he has got his grubby fingers on USAID, all these other departments. It's crazy. He's basically I don't know I don't know what he's gonna do. Who knows what he's gonna do with all that stuff, with our data, with our personal info. He could literally look up anyone's social security and have all their personal information like that. I mean, it's crazy. A lot of people were fired apparently also. Some people quit in protest. It's overall it's insane. Who knows what's gonna happen? I don't know what Musk is doing. This is kind of like a power grab in a weird sense. He's overstepping way too much. He's just overstepping his honestly, I don't know. I think Trump is going along with it. I don't think Trump really cares. I think he just sees Elon as his little like puppet. But it kind of seems like it's the other way around. But I mean, who knows? We'll see what goes on.
knows the dirty little secret about government. It drips with fat. No one's ever done an
I
exercise
don't
like
trust
this.
that
I thought he'd
motherfucker.
get a lot more pushback from Congress, and he's not. He's going in there with a spatula, and he's scraping out billions of dollars, and people are okay with it. After all, it's taxpayers' money.
Right.
Why not do this? If you sit around your kitchen table, you got to have a budget every year.
Right.
Why can't we apply the same kind of philosophy to government? And that's why he's getting a lot of latitude and a lot of slack, even though he's a controversial guy. But look
Right.
at the executional skills he has.
Sure.
There's nobody like him. Let him do his thing.
Mr. Wonderful, you are in Tokyo making a movie with who?
Gwyneth Paltrow and Timothy Chalamet.
Awesome.
The kid is up for us on the Dylan film. Look, they just changed my script. I mean, I'm going out
Well,
of
you
my
gotta
mind here. I
study.
got to get all this memorized. I got to memorize all this tonight.
They're talking
All right.
like so casually.
And
like
it is
that.
night there in Tokyo. Kevin, thank you very much.
Take
Disgusting. Disgusting Kevin O'Leary. Next video, we got China announces retaliatory action as Donald Trump's tariffs take effect from the BBC News.
So we begin with the breaking news. A fresh trade war between the US and China has just kicked off. An hour and a half ago, the US went ahead with its promise of 10% tariffs on all Chinese goods headed to the US. China quickly responded and announced it's to do the same in a tit-for-tat spat that could impact the global economy. China's finance ministry is saying the measures against US goods would take effect next Monday. An extra 10% tax will be added to goods including crude oil and agricultural machinery. Imports of coal and nickel.
So he's gonna do an additional 10%? Is that what I'm hearing?
Do the same in a tit-for-tat spat that could impact the global economy. China's finance ministry is saying the
Okay, they're saying China is going to put a 10% tariff on U.S. energy,
measures against
on oil,
US
crude
goods
oil.
would take effect next Monday.
Yeah.
An extra 10% tax will be added to goods including crude oil and agricultural machinery.
Oof.
Imports of coal and liquefied natural gas will be hit with 15% tariffs.
Damn.
It's also saying it's filing a complaint with the World Trade Organization
As they should.
over the action from the US. In Asia, stock markets were riding high earlier today, with Hong Kong's Hang Seng opening up over 3% higher. The Nikkei 225 in Tokyo was up more than 1.5%. But since the announcement of new tariffs in the US and China, the markets are now muted. On Wall Street, heavy losses were clawed back on Monday as the news broke that 25% tariffs on Mexico are to be delayed for a month. Hours later, a similar deal was announced with Canada after President Trump spoke to Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, and Canada agreed to ensure further security at its border. Our North America business correspondent Michelle Fleury is in the town of Windsor, Ontario in Canada. It's right by the US border, where she's been getting reaction to all these latest developments.
In response to the threat of tariffs, some Canadian liquor stores had pulled US brands from their shelves.
As they should. I mean, they're getting punished for no damn reason, honestly, and they have the absolute right to do this. See, what they should have done is just break all the bottles, just burn it all, just destroy it. They don't need that. Buy Canadian. If you're in Canada, buy Canadian, buy local.
Tonight they are being restocked. The trade war averted for now, but for some,
And buy
the
Mexican.
break may be permanent.
Get some
For me,
tequila.
a line's been crossed.
Monica Morelli cancelled subscriptions to Amazon and Netflix, two American companies, because of Trump's trade threats. She isn't planning to sign back up.
It's like the whims of someone who changes from day to day. It's not acceptable. And for me, like, I think it's broken something. I can't trust the US to be the ally anymore.
At Laval, they make
Especially
parts
under
used
Trump.
in other goods. They were bracing for the worst. Around 80% of Canada's exports end up in America. Even with the delay, Laval President Jonathan Azzopardi said questions remain.
The uncertainty is as bad as the tariffs. This company has been in business for over 50 years. That 50 years of success came from both sides working together, creating relationships that took a very long time to create. And now knowing that that relationship was as fragile as it is, and that one person's agenda can change that whole relationship and change the course of a business that's been around for half a century, hurts a lot.
Here in Windsor, Ontario, you can see the American city of Detroit just across the river. Tonight, the feeling of betrayal by a neighbour replaced by a sense of relief. But for how long? Michelle Fleury, BBC News, Windsor, Ontario.
Well, Canada's Prime Minister just...
Trump put a pause on the tariffs for like a month, like 30 days. So they should go back to effect like around March 1st, March 2nd. If they don't come up with a deal to actually not even do the tariffs at all. I'm pretty sure they're going to negotiate on both sides, Mexico and Canada, to try to prevent the tariffs from going through. What is Trump gonna ask for? I have no idea. Maybe some more favorable trades, or perhaps I don't even know. I feel like we already have favorable trade with Canada and Mexico, though. I don't know how you can get better than it already is, unless because the thing is, he really wants to cut imports and wants to export more, but we don't have the capacity to really export all too much here in the United States, because we basically during the 80s, because of Reagan, we absolutely gutted our manufacturing hubs here in the United States. We still manufacture a couple of things, but it's not to the same extent as it used to be. And then with these tariffs, we have jobs here from foreign companies. If we hit a nation who they have businesses here that have they have jobs here, like Toyota and Honda, for example, if they see that it's becoming a little too volatile and the tariffs are becoming a little too problematic, they're just gonna pull out. Thousands of jobs gone like that because of the whims of a crazy orange man. I don't know. Things are gonna. We gotta see. We just gotta keep an eye on it. We do our best to call out things for what they are for these fascist pigs, so they don't, do something that everyone will regret.
Justin Trudeau tweeted he had a good call with President Trump and will be implementing a $1.3 billion plan, reinforcing the border with new choppers, technology and personnel.
The thing is, also, with the whole fentanyl thing from Canada is kind of absurd, honestly, because I don't think... I'm not saying that fentanyl doesn't come in from the north, but I don't think it's to this... Honestly, I don't think it's that big of an issue, really, compared to compared to the southern border, unfortunately. But that's because people who were born in the United States, U.S. citizens, pass through ports of entry, regular ports of entry, crossing the border, or in a harbor, or even in an airport, through regular points of entry. American citizens smuggle in drugs. That's the reality. It's not the abuelas, it's not the tios and the tias, the tios and tias. It's not the abuelas and abuelas sneaking in money, or not money, sneaking in fentanyl into the border. Yeah, it's not them. It's not them. It's not the people illegally crossing, or the people trying to seek protected status or asylum, refugees. It's not them. Absolutely not them. It's most likely gonna be U.S. citizens who can pass through the border a lot easier than a lot of migrants can. So, but yeah, I think on the Canadian border, I don't think fentanyl is really a big issue. I think most of it comes from the south, from the probably most likely from the cartels or from some other organization, but from the north, not so much. There is some fentanyl that does pass through the Canadian border into the United States, but it's not even as much as as they're saying, or as they're making it out to be.
Enhanced coordination with our American partners and increased resources to stop the flow of fentanyl. Nearly 10,000 frontline personnel are and will be working on protecting the border. Trudeau also said Canada would appoint a fentanyl czar, list cartels as terrorists, and launch a Canada-US joint strike force to combat organised crime, fentanyl and money laundering. Mosho Landa is Senior Lecturer of Economics at Concordia University. I asked him if Justin Trudeau has done enough to keep the threat of tariffs at bay.
Probably. When Trump was elected, he had texted out that the tariffs were coming unless Canada controlled fentanyl and immigrants crossing the northern border into the U.S. I'm not entirely sure how big a problem those two things are, or whether they're more imagined in Trump's mind. But
I would think they're more imagined in Trump's mind. I mean, Trump is like pretty paranoid. I think he might be a little schizophrenic or whatever. In my opinion, I don't think he's all there, especially in his old age now. I mean, man, bro's old. We switch one old man for another. I mean, yeah, Trump is slightly more mentally competent than Biden, but still, I mean, come on, they're both old. They're both, up there in years, and their mental faculties are not the same. Even Trump, he's not as sharp as he was in the last two elections,
given that there's now going to be much more enhanced border security to try and stop whatever fentanyl and immigrants are crossing. That was the precondition to make the tariffs go away. So we don't know in 30 days whether he's going to ask for something else or that's going to be the opening part of the negotiation. But allegedly what Trudeau offered today was what he wanted.
In the meantime, Mosho, what are you hearing about how people are positioning themselves in the light of this potential conflict?
Consumers are upset. They've started boycotts. I'm not sure how long the boycotts are going to last or how much they realize does in fact come from the U.S. But consumers don't like the thought. And, Canadians have a reputation for being kind-hearted and generous people. But we can also be extremely proud and defensive when our country is under threat. Businesses, of course, are very concerned, too. A lot of our natural resource-based industry is powering the U.S., literally and figuratively. And so there have been threats that will turn out the lights in the U.S. If they want to tariff us. I don't think that that's exactly the best strategy, but that just shows the degree to which Canadians are upset that that one man, as you played in an earlier clip, has the capacity to really wreck the Canadian economy.
Yeah, and it's really unfair.
So that's the situation
honestly.
in Canada, but what about China, where 10% tariffs have just...
Not only are they our ally, they're our fucking neighbors. They're our neighbors, allies. We fought alongside them, like... Like, I don't get it. I don't get why he's doing this. It's so weird. Even with the excuse of fentanyl, it's still so weird, It's just crazy.
Just been applied to Chinese exports to the US, and China has just announced it's following suit with a raft of tariffs to be applied to American goods. Dr. Harry Broadman is a trade expert with Rand Corporation and told me this is just the beginning.
It's just the latest chapter in our relationship with China. I think really epitomized
get some better internet.
Trump sees China as a mano-a-mano bargaining situation, just like, and frankly, he did with Canada and Mexico. And China's very smart. They've picked U.S. exports that are very sensitive to U.S. firms, and you can be sure that those firms are giving an earful to Mr. Trump right now.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how this plays out. President Trump is saying he's going to speak to President Xi later this week. He had phone calls with Claudia Sheinbaum yesterday and Justin Trudeau of Canada. That seemed to lead to a good result. Could we see the same for China?
Sure, and I believe that Xi is expecting that, because now the cat is out of the bag that this is how Trump wants to use tariffs as a beginning, perhaps, of a discussion. It's quite extraordinary. If you're in
the robot voice is crazy.
You're not expecting to then get on the phone with the head of state just after you've imposed something. So I think this is quite orchestrated by the way that Trump sees the world and what he wants to use as a bargaining chip. And what's also extraordinary is some of the items that are coming up in the trade war are not necessarily economic merchandise items, but other things.
After this video, we're going to play video games for a little bit. I want to give you guys something fun, or somewhat fun.
Tariffs as his only tool in the
Oh, that looks kind of nice. I
toolkit
mean, look at all that.
to
That's
try to change our
a
policy
lot.
with respect to other countries.
With Canada and Mexico, some might argue it was quite simple to promise to President Trump what he wanted, i.e. much more security at the border, many more measures to prevent fentanyl crossing across, etc., etc. With China, it's not so simple, is it?
Absolutely not. I mean, our supply chains, as everyone knows, with China are quite sophisticated and quite complex in terms of both up and down the supply chain. So I think this is not just a question of fixing a border or dealing with a drug problem. Not that those are insignificant, but you have a network of factories and supply chain, ships, trucks, consumers, workers. Everybody is affected when you have the two largest economies of the world beginning a trade war.
Yeah.
Now, whether this trade war actually turns out to be a trade war, and Xi and Trump speak on the phone, which was already planned, who knows? Maybe in the next day or two, Xi will say something that will satisfy Trump. I don't think so, but I think that's the theatrics that is going on in the background here, and it really undercuts, I think, Trump's strategy to try to be a strong man relative to other countries around the world using tariffs.
Dr. Harry Broadman there, who was a former US Assistant Trade Representative and Chief of Staff in the US President's Council of Economic Advisors. So interesting to get his take on things. Let's now get an expert view on the market reaction. So it's proving to be another roller coaster ride for traders today. As I mentioned earlier, in Asia, shares in Hong Kong were rallying. They opened up over 3%. That was also the case in Japan and other markets in Asia. But now investors are wary again with the trade spat between the US and China gathering speed. Russ Mould is investment director at AJ Bell and shared with me his view.
Interesting to see that those rallies we saw in Asia this morning didn't get back all of the ground they lost yesterday, because there's still the 30-day option for Trump to bring tariffs back on Canada and Mexico. There were the new tariffs on China, which have now come in, and there were the old ones, which are still there and are still a source of conflict between the two. And now we have the additional complication of China raising the stakes. Now we'll see what comes out of those talks. Reluctantly looking.
Yeah, like I thought Trump and Xi got along though. I thought didn't Trump say that him and Xi were like best friends or whatever? Like, what the hell, man? Come on, Trump, you're just supposed to be the Dragon Emperor. Like how the Chinese netizens say he's the Dragon Emperor. Oh yeah, I mean, China doing in 10% tariffs on us. I mean, Trump could see that as a threat, and he's very petty, so he could raise the China ones. He could raise the tariffs on China, and China could retaliate in the same way. It's gonna be like the opposite of the Berlin crisis, when there was tanks. There was like a standoff at the Berlin border with tanks, right? I think it was the Berlin border. Back in the 80s, 90s, no 80s, 70s, 80s. I don't remember when. I think it's like 70s. Could be. I could be wrong. I'm probably wrong. But yeah, this is just like that. It's just a bunch of, they're gonna one up each other probably until like eventually they'll back down. They'll both scale back gradually. If they do, I mean, because I mean, 10% tariffs on China kind of does affect the prices for us a lot. I mean, we get a lot of stuff from China. We get T-shirts, shoes, clothes. I mean, we get clothes, shoes. We also get some food stuff. Like, it's crazy. We also get like tech from China, microchips, tech, TVs, car parts, cars. Well, we don't get Chinese cars, but I mean, I don't know. It's gonna be crazy. These we'll see what happens in these 30 days. Well, probably I think it's like 29 now or 28 days.
Trump's
but yeah,
X feed. He seems to be linking a trade deal with China to what happens with TikTok in particular.
Well, I was just going to say, actually, it's really interesting in Hong Kong. The big winners today are all the tech stocks. There's conversations about the future of TikTok is likely to be revealed soon, that negotiations are ongoing. It's, as I said to Harry Broadman, it's such a complicated relationship, isn't it, between the US, China on so many levels?
Yeah, I mean, the customs duties that America generates overall are now more than double where they were 8 years ago when President Trump introduced his first tariffs on Chinese
I
goods
just
such
saw
as
this.
washing
Kitty
machines,
Kellyanne,
steel,
thank you for
and
the follow.
aluminium. And the Biden administration didn't remove those, and it actually added to them. So the tensions have been going on now for, well, you know, eight
I just saw a
years,
notification on my
and they
phone.
haven't
I'm sorry.
come down. Technology, national security, intellectual property are all very, very hot issues between the two nations, and whether one phone call can resolve them or not is you know, is difficult to tell, but it seems unlikely.
Hopefully.
It will be interesting to see what happens after the conversation between President
I don't want to be on China's bad side, you know.
Trump and President Xi, which we're told will happen sometime this week. But from China's perspective, its economy is in a tough spot, has been really since the pandemic. The growth is not kicking in. There's all sorts of issues impacting the Chinese economy. This couldn't come at a worse time, could it?
No, you could argue from President Trump's perspective, this argument's therefore the ideal time to have it, in that China's economy, as you say, is struggling. It's coming out of a real estate bust. Its infrastructure and domestic spending model is struggling to take up the load, and its other economic engine has been exports to the world, which America is now trying to hem in. So from a US perspective, it's a good time to apply pressure. From a Chinese perspective, as you say, it's a very, very difficult one for them as they try and get domestic consumption going.
Russ Mould there from AJ Bell. Well, let's stay with the China-US relationship. China says it is to probe the US tech giant Google over violations of anti-monopoly laws. Beijing's State Administration for Market Regulation is saying the US tech giant was, and this is a quote, suspected of violating the anti-monopoly law of the People's Republic of China. Let's go to our Asia Business Hub. Mariko Oi is there with the details. What can you tell us, Mariko?
Well, Sally, as you said, the announcement came just as Beijing announced those retaliatory tariffs shortly after that deadline passed for US tariffs on China passed. Of course, Google's search services, though, in China have been blocked since 2010. So many started asking what is actually the target, you know, what kind of business activities are still taking place in China by Google. For example, its Android operating system reportedly has more than half the smartphone market used by companies like Xiaomi and Vivo and Oppo. Still quite a big business for Google. Also, Google still provides apps and games to the Chinese market through partnership with local developers. So those are the business activities
Google
that
Play.
are targeted by this investigation. But many analysts, as you've just been talking to your guests about it, have been saying that these announcements appear rather symbolic, because even some of the products that China imports from the United States that have been hit by these retaliatory tariffs. For example, crude oil, China doesn't import much of it from the United States. So all these announcements, while of course are very big and sending a clear signal to Washington about Beijing's expression of or response to those tariffs, it does seem rather symbolic, and it seems like quite a similar story when it comes to this Google's case as well.
Okay, Mariko, for now, thank you.
I like how China can actually, you know, sue these companies way more effectively than we can here.
Around the world and across the UK, this is BBC News.
All right. And that's going to be it for the videos. We're going to wait for those videos. When Adrian gets on, we're going to play some Civilization.